Amp Media Production presents Gypsy Soul, your one-stop shop for letting out your inner gypsy. Join Denise Marsh as she brings on a variety of guests to share their artistic vision with the world.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Gypsy Soul. I'm your host Denise Marsh, and I'm so happy to be with you today on a very, very rainy and stormy day in Boca and in West Palm Beach. But I would do anything to get to you guys. So when I woke up this morning, I realized what day it was, and I grew very somber and very sad. And I realized that today is the anniversary, the 24-year anniversary of 9/11. 24 years since that traumatic event. And as a New Yorker, but not being in New York at the time, it was surreal to watch on TV. In fact, I had some guilt over the fact that I wasn't in New York when it did happen. But I think no matter where you lived in the world, even if you didn't even live in the United States, it affected you. It had some kind of effect on your heart, on your soul, and it just made you feel differently about things. It made you think of how we live our lives thinking that tomorrow will be granted, and sometimes tomorrow doesn't always come. So we have to embrace our inner gypsy and find joy within ourselves and with others and try to erase some of this hate. There's too much hate. So I wanted to read you my poem, Destruction is a Flavor, from A Connecting Flight. Poems about the detours of life, which you guys know is on Amazon. And I've read this before, but it really needed to be revisited today to shed a light on hate. And we need more love in this world. So let's read it again. Words lead to actions, and some actions change our lives for the better or for the worse. Let's read the book. Destruction is a flavor. The battle never ends. Lasers, nuclear bombs, arsenals, grenades. It all started with kryptonite. Pick your poison. Destruction is a flavor. Your view and my view may differ, and yet we all bleed blue, red, and purple, washing away all thought, pure and vile, wishful and wasteful, flooding a river of regret, neglecting every last effort, mocking the cautionary signs as skeletons line your path to a cold fire where frozen hearts, shattered dreams, a fragile glass. Destruction is a flavor. Not a good one. Not a good one at all. But today's guest is the opposite of all that. Today's guest is quite a breath of fresh air. I met him at a fundraiser for Amp Media Futures. He was and still is charismatic, funny, and literally has a beautiful aura around him. That is the best way that I could put it. He said that he could feel a radiant light around the studio the last time that he was here, and this was months ago. And of course, you know, he had to be a guest on my show. That's what happened. When we come back from a short break, you'll get to meet intuitive life coach, motivational speaker, and amazing author, Kevin Lee, author of Your Divine Purpose. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Hey there, have you heard of the new show Gypsy Soul? It's hosted by the one and only Denise Marsh. Listen in as she helps you release your inner gypsy with the best in South Florida, with plenty of special guests with their own talents to inspire your inner gypsy. Tune in every other Thursday on your preferred streaming platform.
Poetry doesn't have to be complicated and difficult to understand. It is an experience to be felt, shared, and remembered. Denise Irene Marsh's compilation of poems, In a Connecting Flight, Poems About the Detours of Life, is written in free verse to be enjoyed by anyone who has had their lives changed by particular circumstances or people in a journey they didn't see coming. If you want to experience connection, this book is your passport. It's time to get the book and begin your journey. Are you ready? Available on Amazon.
And we're back with Gypsy Soul. I'm your host, Denise Marsh, and I'm here with the incredible Kevin Lee. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, good to see you, Miss Denise.
So we've been planning this show for months, and here we are in the flesh.
Yep.
Even after a rainstorm, you're still looking great.
Thank you.
Don't
thank
know
you,
how you
thank
do that.
Thank you.
Tell me your secret. But they say that the sign of a good book is when you use Post-its. So with your book, there are Post-its. There's highlighting. I took
love
the
it.
quiz.
I love
was
it.
very, very interactive. So tell us about how interactive it is. Tell us about the book.
Well, so absolutely. So I created this book, Your Divine Purpose, A Journey to Fulfillment and Legacy, because really for my whole life, especially in childhood, I had a very dark, difficult journey. And when I wrote this, it was at a point in time, actually right during the pandemic in 2020, I began the process of writing, and I realized, you know what can I bring as my gift to the world? What can I do that helps people rise up and have life again, or find the next chapter of life? Because it was such a reset time. And so I decided to kind of pull from a lot of places in my life. My background, as you know, I've been a registered nurse for 35 years. I've been doing nursing anesthesia for 25 years. And I've also done a lot of spiritual counseling. I've become an ordained minister. So I pulled from different elements in ways that would support people to really allow them to go inside to find answers instead of looking outside. And so I wanted to do it in a way that was safe and not too triggering, and just allow them to really discover just more happiness in their life and the potential in their life. We all have a purpose, so let's find that.
And you know, when you said that, speaking to the having people find their purpose and having people, you know, not trigger them too much, I think it's okay to trigger people a little bit. I mean, I know that when I read the book, I was triggered a little bit.
Good
and bad.
I like that.
But it made me think. When you get triggered, you think. Because they always say that you're not going to be comfortable staying in the same place, right?
Right.
That the universe kind of moves you, makes you feel uncomfortable, or you won't move, or you wouldn't move.
The universe doesn't change, or doesn't advance, or grow or evolve without change. And so if we stay static, there's no change. There's no transformation. So there must be a type of literally disruption and triggering. Think of a caterpillar, right? The caterpillar has a beautiful little life. It doesn't know anything. It goes into the chrysalis. It knows it just needs to go within, and then all of a sudden it's totally different. It comes out transformed. And so it has to literally die inside the cocoon, and it literally goes back to the original soup of the caterpillar, and then it transforms totally. It's the only.
And it takes its time.
It takes its time.
It doesn't rush.
Right.
And I love that you use the analogy of the caterpillar, because butterflies are like a big thing with me.
There you go.
They're on my book. And so that was, you know, things are meant to be.
Right.
You know, they're definitely fated. So one of the things that I love most about your book was your raw vulnerability, which you just spoke about.
Very raw.
And you talked in your book about how you were shamed and bullied for being gay.
Yes.
And how your grandmother, and I love that part of the book because I miss my grandmother so much.
I love my grandmother.
Was one of your heroes and inspired you because she said you have big dreams in you.
Yes.
I highlighted that in the book. And you also highlighted how we go through experiences that lead us to awakenings.
Yes.
Can you explain this further?
Well, I'll tell you, every single tragedy or trauma or pain that we experience, anything that triggers us and is not pleasant for us, there's a spiritual lesson inside of that. That's why it triggers us, because our soul knows that there is a little bit of truth in that we need to take a look at. And you just may be the mirror for me to trigger me to realize there's something you're doing that I'm not doing, which really stirs the waters of my soul, right? And so my soul gets a little agitated, like, well, you know, you should be doing it, Kevin. And then all this negative self-talk begins.
Yep.
And so we just have to, the inner saboteur, right? And so in some of the work that I do, which is helping people in life coaching, I help them work with the negative self-speak, and we convert that into a positive self-speak, all right, positive and powerful. And I really just show people you've got the power. You just need a little extra perspective and light to shift the direction you're going, and your life will transform.
I'm smiling because I remember in the book, and I've read a lot of books, so I hope I'm not mixing anything up, but you said that you should look at yourself in the mirror and you should say, you sexy thing, you're amazing, you're kind of... I actually, I'm not going to lie, I did try to do it. It really didn't work.
It's hard.
I had just gotten up in the morning, so I couldn't say the word sexy.
Right. Well, say it in the evening.
But when I was stressed up, and even one time when I was crying, I was upset about something.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you can do this.
Yep.
You're fine. You're gonna get
See?
through this.
That's exactly
so
right.
that hit home.
Yep.
It really hit home.
And if you
for
go
me.
home with this beautiful face today,
Yeah.
and you go home and say, I love you, I'm proud of you for hosting this amazing show that spreads light all over the place, say something like that to yourself.
Yeah,
It is
I do.
super awkward in the beginning. I get it. I get it. But it literally, within about a week, you're going to get so used to hearing yourself and looking into your own eyes. And just say
that's something too.
It's
something
interesting.
big. Yeah.
And it really does work. I've seen people literally, I'm going to say the word expunge a lot of pain and things that they held in, the darkness, the things they would never share. It began to come out when they were looking in the mirror that I gave them in a retreat. And I said, speak to yourself, say the following, and they would do that.
What if you cry when you look at yourself in the mirror? Not because
That's
you had a bad
good.
hair day.
No,
but
that's
because
good.
you're being your friend.
Right.
You're being like
It's
you're
good.
adhering to your inner gypsy, your inner child.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Because
so that's good?
those are healing tears.
Yeah,
You know it's
I
authentic.
think so.
I think
Yeah.
if tears come up, it's because you know finally you're being authentic with yourself.
I agree.
And how many people are beating on our doors to pour into us? No one beats on our doors to come pour into us. We have to pour into ourselves.
We do.
Which is why the mirror exercise works great. I try not to, if we're a little fluffy in the middle, I try not to look in the full-length mirror. I go to the one that's just chest up.
Yeah, I don't like my full-length
right?
mirror.
And so then, you can just love all over yourself and get used to it. I'm telling you, it works. It really does work.
I mean, I have the Post-its up on the bathroom door.
Yep,
about,
I do
you're
too.
incredible.
I have my
But
affirmations.
you know what happened? And this is bad. I used to look at them all the time. I don't look at them anymore. I got so busy that they're just sitting there and I don't look
Rewrite
at
them. Take them, literally put them on a different color paper and surprise yourself with a new color with the same mantra or the same saying, and literally take the old one off, let that old energy go, and literally
love it.
rewrite it and say a prayer over it, light incense over it, sprinkle rose petals over it, and just call the energy of what you're manifesting and place that on your mirror, in your cupboard,
Yeah.
whatever.
Like a reminder.
Right? Yes.
Yeah. I love that idea.
Yeah.
I am going to do that.
Good.
I'm definitely going to do that. So, in your book, you also discussed how you became a reverend, but not the
I did.
traditional kind.
Right.
Tell us more about that.
Well, so it's really crazy. I grew up very, very traditional, conservative in Texas, right? And so I grew up a Southern Baptist. We had to memorize the Bible. You had to stand up in church and recite the Bible and all that kind of stuff. So I definitely grew up in church and scripture. So that, I evolved out of that because they didn't really treat me very kindly. And it was definitely a learning lesson in life. And I realized in 2007, I realized there was I'm going to say spiritual presence that came around me. I speak about it in my book. I wrote about it in the book. And what I later discovered, as crazy as this sounds, I know that it was Mother Mary who was speaking to me. And this wasn't someone I ever prayed to. When you're a Baptist, you don't pray to Mother Mary. That's the Catholics, right? And I loved her story. I loved the Jesus stories. I loved all the prophet stories, but I never really thought about it. And so she literally guided me out of Fort Lauderdale into Dania Beach towards this. I saw this sign go by when I'm driving, and I thought, that's weird. I don't like that, because it was metaphysical chapel. Those two words were literally angels and demons in my mind. They could never be put together. It made no sense to me. I didn't like it. It triggered me. But there was some truth in there that I didn't know at the time. So I tried to drive by. The voice came back. The presence came back. Really, the way I can describe it is the Holy Spirit filled my car because it was a living energy that spoke to me. I could hear it in my head, and it said, you must go back, you must go back. And I did not want to go back to that church. So I turned around. I went anyway.
Literally turned your life around.
It literally turned my life around. And within a couple of years, I entered seminary, really just to study what is metaphysics, what is Eastern philosophy and world religions. And I literally fell in love with world religions and cultures and these new perspectives. And I had always been seeking spirituality, not religious dogma. And it truly was a life blessing for me. In that experience, I began to really value my life, and I no longer feared death. I realized that we don't really die. Our soul continues on consciously. And there's so many, even scientific studies and research that has proven that. It's truly remarkable. So it really changed my life, mind, body, and spirit. I feel totally blessed to have really evolved to a higher state of understanding my spirituality. And I try to teach that to my audiences and my students, my clients. and just to remind them there is power inside of you. The power is not in your pulpit, in your church. The power is right here in me because I hold the light. So I'm going to show you. You may have been beat down by the battles of life, the Bibles of life, but literally, let me fan the flames around you. If this kid from a Texas cow farm can get up and do what I do and can evolve the way I've evolved past racial lines, past religious lines, and really be an ingatherer of people, then you can too. And I try to remind people that's how powerful you are. We have a purpose. If you woke up today and took a breath, I guarantee you have purpose on this earth because you're not up in spirit doing God's work. You're here on earth because there's reason for you. So let's figure out what that is.
Yeah. I love that, and I thought of that the whole time I was reading it. Like, what's my purpose? Like at school, they say, "What's your why?" And
Right.
sometimes we get tired of that, catchphrase, "What's your why?"
It's important,
but it's important because the why that we're thinking isn't always the why that we want to hear. It's usually something different.
Right.
Wait, so you've studied all these different religions.
Oh, yes.
Do you
We had
feel
to.
like you took part of a little
Yes.
of each one? Because even
Yes.
though I'm Jewish, I feel like when I learn about different things, I'm taking pieces from everything.
We
and
say-
I believe this and this and
Absolutely.
that. And that.
If anybody just takes an objective, honest look at all the world religious scriptures, the ancient texts, they're going to find what I call the golden threads of truth. There is something that it makes sense. Maybe
Yes.
you never heard it before, but something rings true for
There's
you.
always a parallel.
And it's in
Yeah.
every single cultural religion and philosophy and spirituality. There's always truths. And so I literally will begin to pick all of these truths to build what feels right to me. And it's made me an incredibly good person, I believe.
Great person. A great person. So do you consider yourself to be a psychic or a clairvoyant? Because I know you lead manifestation
Yes.
workshops throughout the world, and you're also able to deliver messages from spirit.
From loved ones.
And I see cards.
Right,
here,
from
too.
loved
Yeah.
ones. Yeah, actually, I brought my divination cards. So these are oracle cards, angel cards. And so, interestingly enough, in our metaphysical church and our full national church system, they train us to become metaphysical ministers, to interpret ancient scripture metaphysically. They train us to be spiritual healers. They trained us to be spiritual intuitives, mediums. And so we were trained quite extensively, and so that's what I did for many years, 13, 15 years. And so I definitely have had a lot of experience, and I'm surprised because I wasn't born with my gifts wide open like some people are. I was trained to do it, which shows me that if I can learn, anyone can learn to do it. And so I
Because it wouldn't have just come
No.
out. It had to be.
It literally, I needed to step into faith and trust that there was a deeper perspective of myself that I needed to allow really God to flow to me, through me, and from me, because I am the vessel that the message comes through for that recipient. And so I'm literally the medium, meaning the middleman, for the message that's delivered from spirit, from the angels, from your loved ones. I've even channeled a chicken, and I say that in a corny way, but I brought through the name and the characteristics of this family and this chicken that was involved in. It was truly
love that.
It was truly remarkable. So consciousness. Animals do have soul. They do
Yeah.
have consciousness. And so there's an aspect of our pets, our fur babies, that can literally come back in my readings, and I bring people's pets through from time to time. I can see them almost like etherically walking through a wall, and they come and sit beside me, or they'll walk into the room and leave, and I'll know to speak about a Labrador or a chicken or things like that. And the people just laugh because they're like, how in the world would you even know that? How would you know that we raised raccoons? And how many people do you know raise raccoons? Well, yet these people raised raccoons, and I could see a little family of raccoons, and they literally looked like they were all hugging, which felt like a family. And I said that, and they said, literally, our raccoons were all one big family because they all came from a mom and a dad, and we kept a big bunch of them.
So you validate.
Right, so I validate
Yeah, you
information.
validate, you show evidence.
Right.
And I keep staring at the cards because I would love a card
I'd
for
love
today.
to do one. Yes, let's do it real quick. So do me a favor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work quickly in numerology. Tell me the month you were born and the day you were born, not the year.
Okay. January 9th.
January 9th.
And
okay.
I know it's powerful. I heard the numbers were powerful. Yeah.
1 in 9, 10, 1. Yes, definitely. So we've already crossed into this year. So that means that you're in the current energy of 1. This is new beginnings for you energetically, which means that on your birth date this year in January, you stepped into new beginnings, a new 9-year cycle. So things began to change this year that were really, last year it was more about putting the ribbon around things energetically. It was about closing things out. It was removing things from your life that no longer serve you. This year, it's a whole new level of growth and new opportunities. I just heard that. Something is coming for you, which is quite interesting. And I see a light, almost like a Christmas star. By Christmas, mark my words, in the next 4 months, there will be a new opportunity, because I'm being referenced to light again, and it has something to do with being in the spotlights. But it's different from this setting. So don't be surprised if that doesn't happen. Now, very interesting. So the card that I pulled for you is focus on service, right? And so when I received this card, it really reminds me of spiritual service. The work that you do is healing. Interestingly enough, your voice is the healing tool, not your hands. And so there's a sense that your voice is going out to serve people in a very healing way. And I feel as though it's going to take another step up. The energy steps up, like we're going up steps, which tells me you're going to a different level with your speaking and your public service. So don't be surprised if what you do doesn't literally begin to transform people's lives. Really, I'm being pointed, I see like these fingers pointing at my book, and they're saying just referencing, using your own books as a tool to serve other people. It could be women's groups, it could be trauma groups, things like that, but don't be surprised. And I want you to say yes, even if you've never done it, because I want you to figure out, I say, jump and build your wings on the way down.
Yes.
Because literally you have what it takes, you've gone through the trauma, you've overcome, you're the expert of you and what you've gone through, and these people need to hear what you have to say. That's healing and that's transforming.
And I'm going to watch this again because I want to listen to that message again.
Absolutely.
'Cause you just blew me away with so
beautiful
many
message
things.
from Spirit, and thank you for allowing me to do that.
Well, thank you. We're running out of time, and I'm putting things together because I just have so much I want to ask you. So where can people see more of you? Your upcoming events, your contact information?
Well, absolutely. So the best thing to do is for them to go to my website. Simply said, it's IamKevinLee.com. Right, and a lot of my events you can find through my newsletters, on all the social media channels, especially Instagram and Facebook. You'll see things there. And this fall I'm getting a lot busier. I'm going to be doing some tours around Florida. I'll be in some spiritual communities on live stages. So definitely if your viewers are in Florida, I would love for them to let my office know, because I will tag you a Florida person and I will invite you to my live events in person. And then I have a bunch of virtual folks that follow me.
You have something tonight.
Actually, I do, actually. This evening within my church system, I'm actually going to be teaching flower readings. I love to give messages from Spirit with flowers. Who doesn't love flowers?
You have to do that closer than Fort Lauderdale.
Absolutely. It is
that.
incredibly beautiful. And so I'm inspired by the shape, the texture, the patterns, and the colors that I'm drawn to in the flower, and when I pick it, the message is for the person.
So
well,
beautiful.
I don't know who's brought me the flower, because I make them choose a flower in the beginning when they come to my service. So they remember their flower, but I don't know. So when they're brought up, I'm just guided to it. I deliver the message, and then the person raises their hand to say, yes, that's my flower, and that's exactly right. That makes total sense what you're saying.
How amazing is he?
Right?
How amazing
Super
is
fun.
he?
If I can do it, anyone can do it. I'm telling you.
These are times when I want an hour show,
I
because
know.
I could I don't even have to look at this anymore because I know what I want to ask you. But Kevin, thank you so much for gifting me your book.
You're welcome.
It was a breakthrough for me to see how my life needs more balance. So you brought out my Gypsy Soul more with your Gypsy Soul. And I will continue to look at the book, and I will revisit parts of the book.
Thank you.
And
use my wisdom.
I will use your wisdom. I will use the quiz that told me I need more balance.
Share that light with other people.
I will. It's a wonderful book, and this is an easy read, folks. This is a very easy read. It's
a 100-page book, and I did that on purpose. I wanted it to be something you could literally read over a weekend.
That's my book.
Absolutely.
Short
and
sweet.
that's the way to do it, because I don't want to overwhelm people with information.
Me too.
And so I shared a bunch of raw things, a lot of heart things.
Enough for like a ride on
Totally.
the subway.
We took a wild ride.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I
Thank
love
you
it.
so much.
But I know we'll be together again.
Absolutely.
I mean,
I'd be
if it's
honored.
not in this format, it's going to be somewhere else, because I could feel it.
Yep.
It's one of those things.
Oh, that's your clairsentience.
yeah.
That's your psychic sensing.
That's the word. I couldn't
That's
think
the
of
word,
word.
clairsentience. That's our
Yeah.
psychic feeling.
Let me say it. Clairsentience.
Yes, perfect.
I like that. Okay. I'm going to have to write that down later.
You've got it.
So Yeah, I don't want to say goodbye to you, so you just hang out a little bit more.
I sure will.
But I wanted to thank everyone for tuning into this very special episode of Gypsy Soul, meeting Kevin Lee. And I think you'll see more of Kevin Lee. I think you'll see him on social media. I know he was on TikTok last night. You'll see him on Instagram. You have to follow him because he has a very special presence. You can see and feel that today, but you have to see him in different settings as well, right?
Absolutely.
Definitely different settings. So I encourage you to do that. I encourage you also to filter out hate and look for love in even the smallest things, in people, in things, and experiences, because there's way too much hate going on. And we need to find the love. We need to bring it back. We need to do it quickly. I'm grateful for all of you for spending this 30 minutes with you. And you guys will always be a part of my heart. Whether I'm with you on the show or somewhere else, I will be eternally grateful. But I wanted to say goodnight. Goodnight to Kevin. Goodnight on 9/11. Hoping for love for the world and love for everyone else. Embrace your inner gypsy. And I will see you again on the 25th of this month. You guys have a great night. Stay away from bad weather. Remember to embrace your gypsy soul. I love all of you. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to Gypsy Soul. Make sure to stop by next time for another enlightening show. A show that was produced by Ant Media Productions and hosted by Denise Marsh.